Alright, week 14, final look. Let's do this as fast as I can so I can get the video out in time. Right on top, Hodges, one of my main quarterbacks this week. Good pass block, bad defensive uh, coverage from Arizona. So I'm looking there. Mayfield, I might use him once. His pass block is terrible. If Cincy can get to him, it might go bad. Baltimore, obviously, good pass block. Game seems to be windy. I don't think it should matter too much. Uh, but Jackson is always definitely in play if you want to pay up for that spot. Cousins, pass block isn't the greatest, but he does have a good matchup today. Lock against Houston. Obviously, Houston can put up points, and he has a good pass block, so he may have some time to get enough yards for his price point there. Uh, Tampa Bay, if you want to throw a shot at Winston, he seems to be having good pass block against this Indy D line. Brady, not really interested in going there. He's not a great fantasy quarterback at all. Darnold against Miami, of course, that's popular pick against Miami. Tannehill against Raiders. I get it if you want to go there. Not really something I'm looking at. Rodgers, great pass block. Good spot against Washington. I like it. Rodgers, Cousins, Hodges, my main quarterbacks, and I may throw in Locke and Darnold, possibly Tannehill, into at least one lineup, and maybe I'll take a flyer on Mayfield. Going over to running backs, Snell is in place for Connor. Not great running block, but I think he could do okay in that spot. Ingram, good run block. I don't know uh, how much they'll use him towards the end of the season when they kind of have it locked in already. But I mean, the spot's there. I like it. I'll be using him. Freeman, I hate this guy. I hate Atlanta running backs, but this spot actually doesn't look too bad. I will be actually using him this week. Cook, just with that whole injury thing, I want to use Cook, but then I'm going to have to make a pivot line with the backup running back. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Geis, again, I like that spot. Green Bay has this defensive strategy where they bend, not break, so they give up to the run and they focus against the pass, which that kind of sucks because if Washington has to pass, Geis gets kind of played out there. So never know how it'll turn out, but I will use him. Michelle, I hate the Patriots. Never works out for me, but the spot looks good. I'll try him in one line. Fournette, really like Fournette this week. Probably my favorite running back. Henry, I like Henry this week. And Jones, I like Aaron Jones. Adam Jones? Aaron Jones. Running back from the Packers. Moving over to the left side wide receivers. Johnson and Washington both because they play both sides on the outside. I prefer Washington. Johnson could score, but he does get less targets than Washington. Moore, obviously, he gets his targets. He's got an advantage against his cornerback, and he's in red. Like that play. Beckham, same thing as Moore. I like it. Sutton, I mean, they're going to have to pass to somebody. Somebody's going to get the ball. So, not a exactly great spot, but he does have an advantage on the cornerback. And they do have good pass blocking. Anderson, he was my cover boy for my first look. I like him. Galladay, I believe it's Galladay. I think I misspelled it on there. Looks to be in a smash spot. I like that play. Parker, he's going to be really highly owned. If you guys want to see that Fitzpatrick fails, if you want to make a lineup with Parker, you want to make lineups without Parker in case Fitzpatrick shows up. In case Fitzmagic shows up, you can use Parker. Kirk, not really someone I'm looking at, kind of low there, 21, but probably still in play. I haven't checked his price. Hilton's out. Pascal, I'm assuming gets the majority of the targets, but also Doyle, which we'll get to in a little bit. Williams playing on the outside of the Raiders. Not too interested in it, but in play. Jones doesn't get too many targets in the slot, so don't get blinded by that 32 in red. But if you want to take a shot at him, I think he's minimum price. So it can open up some plays for you. Beasley, 25 in red, gets more targets than McKenzie there. Landry looks to be in another good spot. Johnson looks to be in a great spot. Don't know how many targets he'll get with Diggs, possibly Cook, and the backup running back for his name. They may use him in the passing game as well. Hamilton, not really something I'm looking at, but in play. Edelman, Sanu, Myers. There's this weird like slot or middle of the field pass funnel thing going on in New England. Obviously, Edelman gets most targets, but if they want to shut him down and double coverage him, then you're looking at Sanu, and then lastly Myers. I would just probably lean towards Edelman or not really go towards this spot. Crowder, I think he's popular today. He looks to be in a really good advantage spot, even though it's only the 20th ranked slot defense. So moving down to Bourne, looks like a really good spot today. Wilson, Raymond, these are kind of guys that you don't really hear about. Raymond's filling in for Humphreys. Fitzgerald looks to be in a good spot. Remember, Kirk also does catch balls in the middle of the field, just like Fitzgerald. So Kirk could have some catches there in the slot. Campbell, Pascal. Again, Pascal, I think, gets most of the receptions. But seeing that he's in 2 red spots, that makes me like him. On the right, Washington, one of my favorite receivers today. 30 with an 18 advantage. I like that. 31, Higgins. Beckham also plays on the right, and Higgins hardly gets any targets. So if you guys are looking at this, remember, always do your own research. This guy doesn't get a lot of targets, so don't automatically put Higgins in because he's a red 31. You guys need to look into stuff too. Treadwell and Diggs. Diggs mostly lines up on the left, but he does play on the right as well. On the outside, Treadwell will be there. I'm interested in both plays. I'll try and add him into my lineups. Patrick and Sutton. I don't really know where to go with these guys. Obviously, Sutton is listed also over here, so I like that play over any other Broncos wide receiver. If he's moving around, maybe he gets more opportunities, more targets. Perryman did well last week for me. He seems to be in another good spot. He just, again, does not get a lot of targets. But if he does get something, hopefully he can do something with it. Williams and Allen. Even though Allen has the bigger advantage, I think Williams plays more on the right than Allen. I do kind of like that play, a little sneaky. Thomas and Anderson. Thomas does not get a lot of targets. He doesn't catch a lot of balls. Anderson also listed on this side. I really like Anderson today. Parker, again, listed on both sides. Davis and Brown. Although Davis is listed on the right, I think Brown gets way more targets, but Davis could, with the now Humphreys injury, Davis could get more targets to him if they just completely fade Raymond, which is filling in. Also, you could target Raymond at a really cheap price. Jones, again, Williams, they both play on the outsides. I prefer Williams if you want to go here, but it's up to you. I'm really not looking at the Raiders too much. Adams, Lazard, this should actually be swapped. Lazard plays on the right. Adam does come over and play on the right a few times. but not the majority. Majority he's playing in the slaughter on the left. Sorry, click that. Moving over to tight end real quick. McDonald, last time he was chalk, he busted. He is not chalk this week and in a good spot. I will take a shot on him. Thomas filling in. He's got a slight advantage. Ian Thomas is probably the chalkiest tight end this week. Knox, again, doesn't get used a lot. I really like the kid. He's athletic, but he doesn't get used a lot. Hooper, major advantage over the safety that will be covering him. So if you want to look there, Harris, man, I think he had a Q tag. You guys might want to look into that. But I think he had a negative advantage over the safety. I don't know how much they'll use him, but he is in a good spot. Rudolph, he's been playing very well. They've been utilizing him, maybe with Thielen out now. He does get some targets. I think maybe he's worth a shot, just not too much. Gesicki, not sold on him yet. He's not producing the way I thought he was. I was high on him earlier in the season. Getting down to where I really like Doyle and Graham. Graham is so low owned. I love that play. I will be using Graham for sure. Of course, always make your pivots. I will be using Doyle as well. I will be using McDonald and Hooper. Moving over to the pass catching running backs. Samuels, McCaffrey always in play. This guy doesn't need much good-looking positions to perform. He'll perform in bad situations. Ingram, obviously he was in the running category. Good run block. He's also in the pass catching. Hunt definitely in play. He has been taken away a lot from Chubb, and I believe he found the end zone. Cook, again with that injury, make your pivots as always. If you make a line with Cook, then just make the same line again and make it with the backup running back just in case. Lindsey Freeman, I don't like splitting backfields. Eckler, if we go back, look at Gordon, terrible run block. Eckler catches the passes. So if they can't run, they will be passing, and Eckler will benefit. Fournette, both in running and pass catching. Love Fournette today. Powell, the chalk of the week. Only in the passing category. I don't remember his price, but if you want to play him, I get it. I was probably going to play Bell in that spot, so I'll probably play Powell. Less than Bell than I would have played Bell, but I will play Powell for sure. Henry, I like Henry again. He doesn't get used much in the pass, but they don't use Lewis at all. So Henry, I'm assuming 2 to 3 targets. Maybe he'll get 2 catches. And Jacobs Q-tagged, so just keep an eye on that. I'm guessing he plays. Then, actually, you know what? Let's go back to the quarterbacks. Looking at defenses. Carolina had terrible pass block. So you're looking at Atlanta defense. Cleveland, terrible pass blocks. You're looking at Cincy defense. Washington, bad pass block. You're looking at Green Bay defense. Chargers, bad pass block. You're looking at Jacksonville defense. Jacksonville, bad pass block. You're looking at Chargers defense. And looking at Pittsburgh defense because the Arizona has bad pass block. Now, having mentioned those teams, we'll go over to my defensive chart. Let me adjust this real quick. Get everybody in. So I went in and highlighted the teams that I just mentioned. The reason I have a plus next to Pittsburgh and Green Bay, those are my main defensive plays that I like. If you look at the sack rate, Arizona gives up, and the sack rate Washington gives up, and then you go ahead and look at the sack rate that Pittsburgh applies, it's red and orange, so it matches up. Now, Green Bay's sack rate doesn't apply, but Haskins does throw picks, so Green Bay can benefit right there. As long if they don't get the sacks, they'll get the picks, or they can get both. So I really like Green Bay. Tennessee against Oakland. I think Carr just kind of lays down when he gets pressured. So Tennessee could benefit from that. And the Jets, of course, against Miami. So I like those plays, but I'm focusing on Pittsburgh and Green Bay for my defenses. And that's it. My final look for the week. Just make sure when you guys are choosing someone to look at their usage rate, how many targets they're actually getting compared to maybe another guy you're looking at. That's it, guys. Good luck.